With Vue.js, we get a variety of ways to apply transition effects when items are inserted, updated, or removed from the document object model. Here we will be taking a look at transitioning single elements or components. Vue provides a transition wrapper component which allows us to add entering or leaving transition for any element or component in the following context. That's conditional rendering using the vif directive, or conditional display using the vshow directive, dynamic components, or component root nodes. So let's get started with a simple example to understand the transition wrapper component. So here you can see that we have a div created which has got this transition wrapper with a name called fade, and we are making use of the vif directive show, which is then showing this transition text. So on click of this, we are actually setting the show variable to true or false, whatever initially it is. So when I click on this button, show will be set to true and this will be shown, and then again if I click on this button, show will be set to false, and then this paragraph tag will be hidden but with an effect. So we are through with the div creation. Now we'll need to create the Vue instance. So we'll be going inside our main.js file, and here let's create one instance Vue, and inside this we'll be having the element. Now the element will be pointing to this div that we have created, so I'll be putting it over here in this way, and then we'll have our data. Now the data is going to contain the attribute show, which will be initially set to true. Now that's done. Let's save this. Now one more thing that we need to do, and that is writing the CSS for it. Here in our index.html, I can write the style attribute here. You can see a couple of classes are being applied over here, like enter active, leave active, fade enter, fade leave to, and we are setting the opacity accordingly. So for fade enter and fade leave, we are setting the opacity to 0, and when we are on fade enter active, then the transition is set to opacity 0.5 seconds. So what exactly happens when we make use of the transition wrapper is Vue automatically snips whether the target element has CSS transitions or animations applied. If it does, those CSS transition classes will be added or removed at appropriate timings. And if the transition component provided JavaScript hooks as well, these hooks will be called at the appropriate timings. If there are no CSS transitions or animations are detected, and there are no JavaScript hooks as well, the document object model operation for insertion and removal will be executed immediately or next frame. So here, let's try and execute this and see it in action. So here you can see that when I click on this show effect button, this gets hidden in a very slow manner, and then again if I click on this show effect button, it appears with that fade out effect. So that's an easy way of applying animation or transitioning effects on elements. We'll be exploring more about this in upcoming lectures. We'll be seeing how we can make use of CSS transitions, animations, and then we'll also see how we can apply it between elements, that's transitioning between elements, and transitioning between components.